So I'm having a bit of a car washing morning at the moment. The Alpha has not been washed in ages, just been sitting here gathering mould and dirt. The Mini I took out the other day, used it. It started off sunny and fine when I set off, chucked it down disgustingly by the time I got back and it was brown, so that's had a quick wash and it's nice and shiny again. Now that that Alpha is out of the way, I can have a look at the Mercedes, which everyone keeps asking about, and I haven't actually taken the cover off in a couple of weeks, to be honest. This driveway, unfortunately, is disgusting. All the tyres gone down. The driveway is disgusting, so it's turned the bottom of the cover a bit grim. I've undone a couple of the clips, and we can see what state this thing is in. It's caught on the number plate. So what's like inside the car, because it was absolutely soaking in there. Oh, look at this. It is dry. The floor is not soggy. The seats are dry as well. Oh wow, this is nice. I've got a dry car. What a novelty. Thank you, Halford's all-weather cover. I'll put a link in the description to this thing, because this has stood up to 3 massive storms the last couple of months. There's Kira and the 2 before it. So yeah, this is awesome. This car is not soggy anymore. Fantastic. Right, let's move on to the other stuff of the day. So, this is it. The main event, the big one you've all been waiting for. The shinning of the Volvo. Can't say shine with an ing on the end because I think that's copyrighted. So, we are going to be hitting this with a pressure washer, snow foam, beautiful suds. And then, once it's clean, I'll see how the day progresses, but if I think it needs clay barring, I might clay bar it. Otherwise I might go straight into the electric polishery things, because I'll see how much time I've got. It wouldn't hurt to clay bar it, but I don't know if it's actually worth it, because I'm going to have to do such a heavy cut on the paint, which looks like it's never been polished in about 3 decades, so it may be wasting my time. But hey, let's get going. Let's make this thing really shiny. With years of built up grime, loads of swirl marks, light scratches, and now enough green stuff to call this gardening rather than car cleaning. I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be so satisfying making this shine. Going in with the snow foam, I'm using Juicy Details one because it's quite nice and I have a bottle of it in the cupboard, but it smells quite nice too. It'll soften the dirt before I go scrubbing at it. Make things a lot easier down the line. I just hope this bottle's big enough to do the entire car. Well, this is interesting. These fins, one is broken off completely, a couple of them are a bit damaged, but also these look a bit melted. I wonder if it's had a really hot running brake at some point, like a binding brake. As always, I'm using what they call the 2-bucket system, so suds are in this bucket, then so you get your sponge all suddy on there, wash the car off, and when it goes back in the rinse bucket, so you've only ever got clean water in the suds bucket, and you're not putting grit back on the paintwork. Keeps your suds cleaner longer, and keeps scratchy stuff off the car body. Ooh, okay, that's looser than I expected. At least I get the clean stuff out from underneath it. I'm using Diamond Bright Max Foam shampoo and the new Wriggly brush, which is like a microfiber sponge. Hopefully it'll get a good way into all the crevices and get the grot out of all the little places it's hiding. Although actually, having just seriously jet washed this and snow foamed it, there's actually not a great deal of dirt coming off this car. Actually, there's really good, these little kind of fingers on this Wriggly brush thing, Wriggly sponge, are getting really well into this grill, which is kind of what I was hoping would happen. Now I need to get a new wiper arm for this, because currently it doesn't do anything. Already this car looks fantastically improved over its previous state of horribleness, but there's just so much of it, and cleaning it is actually a bit like the fourth bridge that just never ends. A surprisingly large number of grooves and details on this car as well. It looks big and flat, but really it's actually quite a lot of shapes going on. Something I mustn't forget to do are these door shuts, which are really, really grim, and they're pretty disgusting anyway. But after doing all the grinding in the floor, are even grimmer. Grimmer, is that a word? I think it's not. Mustn't forget the door itself. Oh, this feels so good getting this car looking like new. It's got like a rough side on the back of it, so you can, not scour exactly, but you can work difficult marks off more easily. Now the interior does also need a really good clean, but I'm not going to bother doing that until I've dealt with the ceiling, which is, I was going to say next on the list, but there's such a long list of next on the lists that it's just on the list. This boot panel is by far the worst bit of paint on the car. It's got a lot of scratches on it. I guess things were put on it over the years. No dogs ever stood on it while they were loading the car perhaps, but it's going to take quite a heavy cut to get that backing looking back nice again, but we'll see what we can do. I'm worried these number plates aren't going to get through another MOT, because when the Rover Tomcat ones went like that, they started to fail, which is a shame because they are the originals. I don't want to lose them. Finally, if you weren't sure how much dirt is saved by using the two bucket system, this is the water in the sud sides. It's a bit grey, but that car was really dirty, and there's only a little bit of grit in the bottom of there. This is the dirty side, the rinse side, which is pretty much black, especially at the bottom. There's a lot of grit in there. Already, this looks 1,000 times better. The paint is much shinier. I mean, the snow foam actually does seem to give it a bit more of a gloss, and everything just looks so much prettier. The glass looks shinier. Now, even on the last rinse, I was still blasting crud out of the channels and the body gaps, so I'm hoping that will mean there's less water ingress in the future. What I have noticed though, now that it's clean, is there's a bit more marking on the body than I hoped. There's a little start of a rust problem just there I have to deal with. And the bonnet has quite a few more stone chips than I realised, because I just couldn't see it through the dirt before. But time now, well, I'm going to grab a sandwich and come back and hit it with some paint rectification. Now, do I bother doing ashes? Surprisingly, that's really quite smooth. I'm not sure I'm going to bother doing a clay bar on this, because that paint, I'm amazed to say this, feels really smooth. There's a bit of contamination I can feel. Just every sort of centimetre or two I can feel a little kind of nib of something sort of stuck in the paint, but not enough really to warrant the time it's going to take to do a car this size. I hope this is picking this up, because this is really quite a bad painted surface, so I will hit this first and see what we can do. Now, I'm aware that this polisher isn't the best polisher in the world, and there are far better ones available for about £150 or so if I was going to spend proper money on it. What would you rather me spend 150 quid on? A new polisher or bits for the W123? I know where I'm spending my money, but I have spent some money on some new polishing pads firm for the cut, soft for the polish. I'm using some stuff which I've never used before. This is actually a trade body shop stuff, so I'm a little bit nervous it might be too powerful for the likes of me, but one cut and one finish are by Diamond Bright, and they are apparently very good for sorting out knackered paint and putting a good shine on it. So let's see how we get on. So I'm starting with this because this is bad, and if I mess it up, it's not too bad because I'm always thinking it needs new paint anyway. And go sparingly with this because I'm not really sure how much to use. Let's see how good or bad this looks in a minute. Well, there are still a few marks in the paint, but it's significantly better than this side, which hasn't been done. There's quite a big gloss difference as well. I don't know if you can see this. If it's going to pick up on the camera or not. Spin the polarizer. You can sort of see this side's got a flatter look to it. This is much smoother. This is quite rough. It's quite badly scratched by the button as well, so if I can get anything out of this. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better. Well, the boot is much improved. Let's see if I can do anything on the flanks of this thing. The problem is with this car is it's just so big. There's so much of it. It just goes on and on and on. This may well take longer than I planned. It's actually showing up as well on camera as it is in person, but you can really see the difference. It actually looks quite shiny on the driver's door. If you get to the back, it's a much nicer finish. And also I'm looking forward to getting that sorted out. That came out really quite nicely considering how scratched up it was around the lock. Let's see if I can get in there with like a fingertip and do anything with this rather unpleasant. Oh, this is 30 years of fingernails scuffing it. Wow, it's actually taking it out straight away. This stuff is brilliant. And that is an enormous transformation. That was black around the door lock, black up inside the door handle. Have a quick look at the rear door handle. It was worse than that, and it's come back to that. Oh, I'm really pleased with that result. Well, that mark on this wheel arch is buffed out, leaving barely a mark, which just goes to prove just how solid these things are. So whatever that hit didn't leave a mark on the car, and it probably limped away to die. Well, that feels nice now. This just came off, and I was thinking, well, that's annoying. The Velcro backings just came off my new polishing pad. But no, it's not the polishing pad that's broken. It's the blooming polisher. This thing is broken off there. How annoying is that? I have to see if I can glue this back on before I can carry on. So I can't find any super glue. Our old art we've got is pretty ancient. So I'm going in with some fiberglass resin. See if I can patch this together well enough. I don't know if this will work. If it doesn't, I have to be buying a new one in the morning. Right, so while I wait for that thing to possibly fix, possibly never fix, and have to go and buy a new one, I'm just going to go and try and hand use this would be machine applicable stuff, One Finish, which is the accompanying product to go with One Cut. Let's see if I can get a decent shine on the panels that I've already got as far as cutting. So I have to say that the finish I've managed to achieve just with the cut is actually really pretty good. The glass fibre resin is drying very slowly on that pad, I'm not sure it's going to work or not, so while it's not doing its thing, I thought I'd do a couple of the areas that I need to get in with fingertips. I've just done the other two door handles, so they now look quite tidy. So this repair attempt did not work. It kind of half worked, and it half stuck on there, but it was not really very well balanced, and it feels like the motor's now going, so that is now going in the recycling. And I have just been into town, like 5 minutes before everything's shut, and I've bought one of these because it wasn't too expensive, and I like Draper stuff, it's really good, and it takes the same kind of polishing pads that I've got already, so I can carry on straight away. Oh, I'll tell you what, it's got a much longer lead than that rubbish Halford's one as well, so that means I can actually drape it over my shoulder as you're supposed to do. So first go with new tools, set this up to relatively quick because that's what it says to do. Well, that was a bunch easier than the other one. God, look at that, it's actually shiny. I think I was roughing it without polishing for so long. That's way easier. This door's got quite a few little vertical marks in it and a lot of horizontal ones as well, so let's see if we can get rid of those. Gone! All those little horizontal and vertical scratches and swirls have just disappeared. There are a few deeper scratches I can't do anything about, but that's massively better. Oh, I'm so pleased with that. Right, now let's get the roof done. This is looking a bit rough as well, so if we can make this shiny, then I'll be happy. Now the final panel to look at is the bonnet. Ignore the Rover, it's now covered in bits of Mercedes, Volvo, Tomcat. Everything's just been dumped on that poor thing, so the chance of getting engine back into it and becoming slimmer by the day. Now, let's do the last panel, or I might redo the boot as well with the new toy, and then get some polish on it. That looks nice now. That looks really nice. So that is it. I'm done with the cutting stage, finally. That took way too long. Now, we'll move on to the polishing stage and do it properly this time with the polishing pad. This is a Draper soft polishing sponge. Ironic, I wasn't actually planning on finishing this job with a Draper dual action polisher, but here I am, nonetheless. So the one finished, it's a nice purple colour this, so let's see how we get on. Let's start where we finished and begin with the bonnet. Or the hood if you're watching in America. And damn, that is shiny! I'm happy with that. Now, I don't know how well this is showing up in this, well, very bright and harsh and unforgiving artificial light, but to my eyes it actually looks really, really good. There are a few little swirl marks still in the paint that are, it's just too old, too etched. If I hit it again in a few months' time, I will probably get them out. But considering what it looked like before, this is a monstrously big improvement. All I need to do now is the glass and the plastic and rubber, but I'm going to get some dinner right now. Actually, before I go in, I will do the windows because I don't want all this overspray of polish to set on the glass. What I'm using is this stuff called Diamond Bright Ultra Glass, which is really nice stuff, and I've used it a fair bit and it's really nice. I actually use it on my iPad after my son's been making a mess of it when he's been playing games on it. One thing you cannot have enough of when you're playing this game is lots and lots of microfiber cloths, because you just get through so many. I'm through about 10 so far just in the bodywork, and I've not even started on the rubber, plastic and glass yet. Right, let's do this. Now, finally going to hit some black plastic and rubber bits with this stuff, Diamond Bright Replenish, which I really, really like. I'm also a big fan of Maguire's Ultimate Black, but I've got this one here and it smells nice. So I'm going to quickly scooch over the black bits with it and then wipe it over the cloth. This gives a really nice kind of wet matte look finish to black plastics and rubbers, which just looks so good. This car has got so many crevices on it, it's ridiculous. This grille is actually quite hard to do anything about because it's all just, well, 1,000 crevices. It's crevice central. Let's see if we can bring something back to this old wing mirror. Do the window rubbers as well, so they might stay a bit more supple and let a bit less water in. So what happened was, I started doing the glass, then got carried away, and now the thing looks just amazing, and I really wish it was daylight so I could show you this properly, but it's not, and I'm hungry. Look at this front end now. You remember before, it was green, it was gunky, there was faded, horrible grille. This thing just looks amazing now. That crinkly bumper was a pain. Oh, look at this thing. I'm so happy with the way this car has come out. I can't wait for morning so I can actually see it properly in the daylight and do a couple of nice photos just so you can see what this thing's looking like now. It's just those scabby back wheels that make it look a bit untidy now. Look at this thing now in daylight. It's nice. It's actually quite nice. I'm really very impressed with how this has come up. You can tell the paint's decent quality because I was able to buff really quite hard into it for hours last night, and it has come up with an amazing deep shine. I mean, silver isn't the best colour to kind of compare before and after, but you can sort of see, looking across the bonnet, it's now no longer got hundreds of little swirls and marks and things. It's just shiny, and the roof is the same. That is, yeah, it was swirly, it was scraped. There are a few little lines in there. It was quite badly marked. I've got the worst of it out. Maybe I'll do it with a lighter cut in a little while's time once I've driven it a bit more. The boot also isn't perfect because that was really bad. I don't think that the video really did it justice, but it was awful. But now it just looks better than presentable. It's actually, yeah, quite nice really. Once I've painted the back wheels and put a new set of matching uniroyals on there, this thing will be awesome. Now I know that there's an amazing Volvo breakers yard called Lakes. I'm planning a trip up there very soon. I'm building a shopping list which is getting longer every time I get in the car. Before I sign off today and say, wow, this car looks good, I'm so happy with this. The Mercedes, the W123, I've had lots of people commenting, saying what's happening with that. I've not forgotten it. Basically what's happened, I've reached a point where I need to get a specialist involved to come and set up the fuel injection on it. It can't drive until someone who knows what they're doing has done that. I found two people. One is about 300 miles away, one is quite local. Assuming we're not isolated and can't bring people together in the next few weeks, I'll make an appointment with him to come and look at the car because he's local enough to actually come and physically see it. Meantime, there's a little bit of welding to do on it. There's an alternator I've got in the garage to fit to it. There's a few other bits and bobs I can find. Don't worry, I will do something on it imminently because it's not forgotten. It's just beaten me down for a little while. So join me again next time with who knows what car we're going to be working on, probably the Mercedes or actually the Rover V8 or maybe the Rover Tomcat because I've been doing some bits to that as well. So yes, join me again next time with cars. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again soon.